Hey everyone, welcome to this live discussion, Seeking Harmony. I'm very happy to be here. We have new people today, old people, like, well, basically, Seeking Harmony is having a new format. And you have noticed that we have a new day as well for these lives. We are going live on Wednesday, as of right now, and I'm accompanied today by Deji and by Isaiah and Sage, who were previously in the LGBTQ live discussions in the Twin Flames Universe Open Forum. And now we have one big Seeking Harmony team. And every week we're going to discuss like the major events and news that have caught our eyes basically during the week and that we are interested in discussing. And so this week we're going to talk about some major topics that include legislation and their impact on the people and their personal choice, starting with the draft, Supreme Court's draft on abortion, because this is something that has been talked about a lot this week. And we felt that there was probably some healing to be done about this kind of bills that, legislate on the bodies of citizens, of people. So I'm not a resident of the US, but I'm a woman. And, this bill, at least this draft, it was very shocking to me, especially because like everyone knows about Roe versus Wade and the fight that there has been for, freedom of a woman's body, and how this draft seems to take us back like 50 years back. And so I'm interested in, having your opinion on what is happening in your country. And maybe there will be some healing to be done about that. So yeah, what do you feel about this draft?
Yeah, since seeing it, like that whole thing has just brought up a lot of anger in me and feelings of powerlessness and sadness. I've been working through it all week, like every single day I feel new layers of it, because it's just, I don't know, that is something that I am passionate about, people having their like bodily autonomy and stuff like that, and their choice of what they want to do with their bodies. And yeah, there's definitely healing to be done around it, but that was my thought about it, restricting bodily autonomy. And also the reasoning that is provided can sometimes cause like they can affect future cases, because courts decide based on legal precedent, and they have to like be based on the laws and quoting the laws and stuff like that. And so part of the reasoning was that during the time when the 14th Amendment was passed, 14th Amendment prevents discrimination based on someone's like identity, basically. Like equal treatment, equal protection under the law is the 14th Amendment's whole thing. And it was originally intended to, prevent discrimination like after the Civil War and the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the US. But it's been used, you know, for like a lot of different things that, such as like gay rights, trans related things, anything concerning like there's some groups who are treated differently and that needs to be legally rectified. But the legal reasoning, some of it that's being used is that during the time when the 14th Amendment was passed, abortion wasn't legal. And that was in 1865 or something like that. And so, I mean, that's kind of like an original intent argument, which is something that some conservative justices go by, depending on the scenario. And that's not cool because it means, so there was a lot of stuff that wasn't legal during the 14th, and when the 14th Amendment was passed. Like sex between people of the same sex wasn't legal, gay marriage wasn't legal, being transgender was probably not socially accepted too much. So that whole, like even the reasoning they use kind of opens the slippery slope for discrimination of all kinds. And like I say no to that and I don't like that either. So that's what it means to me. Because, you know, it would be one thing if they made it just about abortion, but once they threw that little piece in, well, that would be bringing us back to the norms of 1865. Technically, that wouldn't go down very well nowadays. It would be pretty hard to for that to happen, but it's just, you know what I mean? Like that's technically possible. So anyway, that's my opinion on it. Yeah. And my thoughts.
So the 14th Amendment dates from 1865?
I think it might be 1866.
1868? Yeah, okay. Was slavery already like not a thing at that point, or was it
Wait, say
still
that
a thing?
again.
Slavery.
The 14th Amendment came around during the end, I believe, if my history class memory serves me correctly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a weird reasoning. I agree. Yeah. What do you think about that, Deji?
Okay, I'm gonna try to get on this. Well, it sucks, number one. I'm really trying to add a piece on here.
How do you feel? Just say it. It's okay.
I just feel I don't have a piece for Roe versus Wade situation. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's okay.
can't speak on that genuinely. I'm trying, but yeah, I'm sorry. I don't.
Why can't you speak on it?
I feel that it sucks. That's all I can say about it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think what I feel is that it's like there's this relationship between like governments and women, and it's kind of always been a tense relationship, which has been getting better with like fights for equal rights and equality of genders and sexes, you know. But it's like, yeah, I think Shaleia was mentioning that it was an attack on women, and I think I have to agree because it's like the state is supposed to protect us, you know, and like doing this is not doing its job to protect us. And I think the other reasoning that I wanted to highlight is that, you know, because there is such a religious speech and sensitivity behind this. People are saying that abortion is against life, but I would say that it's definitely painful not to see that it would be against life to force people that are in poverty to have children, children that wouldn't be loved correctly, women that have to, you know, sacrifice their health to have babies, sacrifice a lot of things basically. And it's obviously a false reasoning and almost an insane reasoning to think that and not help these people, not help the adoption system or the maternity system afterwards. And I do think this is really painful, but I feel like Sage had a piece, like you said that it made you feel powerless. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's like the yeah, upset around it.
I
It's
still,
like,
sorry.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I still feel that way. There's like some anger about it, like that people would try to take away people's like power or choice, you know, or autonomy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on this. So yeah, let's look at what's the real upset here. So you're upset that people would take away something from you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like yeah, taking away choice, power, that kind of thing.
So you're upset that you could be taking your power away from yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, it feels true. So,
And yeah, what do you feel in this space? What does that part of you feel in this space? What does she mean?
let me see. I don't know, just to affirm to her that she is powerful, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give her some love. Say to her that she's
Yeah.
powerful. Get the choice.
Yeah.
All the good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That she deserves her good.
Yeah. My uterus, my choice, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, in spirit, you know, spirit uterus. But yeah, feels good. There's still some like resistance to like, so part of me still feels mad because I'm like, well, what do people do? Like if I were in, if I were in the situation, like what would I do? You know, if I were in such an environment. I mean, obviously go somewhere else, like where I could get an abortion, you know, if I had to, but probably I don't foresee that for me, but it's still like, you know what I mean? Like there's still that element of like, I'm angry, like what would I do?
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah. Yeah, do you choose to feel your feeling behind this anger?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you see there?
Let me see.
Yeah, what do you feel?
I see more powerlessness. I feel like, you know, I feel like there's like an attachment to that the government is like my source or whatever. Like they're the ones who can like, you know, cut something off or give it, you know, or allow it. I think that's what bothers me and bothers people about it, huh?
Yeah,
Because that's what I comes up when I feel into it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but who's your source?
not them. Yeah, God. Yeah, my creator.
Yeah, God is your source.
Mhm.
Yeah, would God leave you without power,
Hmm.
without a choice, without freedom?
No.
Are you a child of God?
Yeah.
Are you safe with God?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like to allow yourself to feel that safety, that you're with God, that you're abundant, you have flow there, you have everything you need.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it feels good to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so another piece too I noticed in there too was that I wanted to join the but I let this go, you know, upon noticing it. But I feel like I wanted to join the outrage over it so I could be part of the club of women who
What?
huh? The
She
club.
wanted
She wanted to
join
join the outrage.
Not because
Okay.
just because it was like a mark of being a woman, you know, although not all women agree with abortion rights. But obviously I don't need to be angry, you know, to be included as a woman because that's regardless, that is the case. But I just noticed that and I thought it was kind of funny
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, for sure. You don't need to be, well, I would say two things, like obviously you're a woman. You're a woman. You don't need to join the angry club to be a woman, but also you don't need to be a woman to be angry about this draft.
that's
You know?
true. I know I've been
Like,
talking to Isaiah about this too, and he has felt the same things.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. As you were
Excuse me.
healing though, I just felt like you know, the realization that peace is your power. Because at first when
Yeah.
we were talking about it, I was angry. I was like, how
I
could they?
know.
But then as we did the healing, I was like, oh no, like I feel really powerful when I'm peaceful. And you know, that's when you stay with that, that's where your power is, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, me too. I was feeling that kind of like Sage, talked about like this feeling that the government could like make me unsafe, but they had power there. And obviously, if I live in a country where my rights as a woman are not protected, I would feel like this is upsetting, or that there is not safety there provided as a foundation and I have to do it all myself. But obviously God is with me there. And I was also healing this around my life purpose and finances earlier this day. And I was like so frustrated. Like I felt caged. Like I felt like I was running in circles. And then when I started to write about it, do the mirror exercise, I was like, oh, I just missed peace there. It was just like missing peace. And it's like, okay, I don't need to be frustrated about it. Like, my steps will come when I feel this peace, this deep peace, and knowing that I'm with God, and that nothing is withheld from me, you know. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I feel the same. I feel the same way. I think it's just knowing that you not to take yourself away from yourself, meaning don't deny your divinity and that you can have everything, that you do have everything that you need. And yeah, and I just think that it takes sometimes though, like faith to feel that way, because like you could look at the situation and maybe feel or think that you can't, like how do I get around this obstacle, you know? And like you would have to like really feel your power and like have faith that something would be able to work out for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes it also takes this upsetting, maybe outrageous situation to actually take a step back and say like, oh nope, I can keep my power there, keep my peace, you know, be in the fight, but not in an angry way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. So how are you feeling in this space?
Well, I don't know. Okay, so uh, oh, I know. Okay, I know what this is. So I'm mad at these people because I feel like the anti-abortion people. So my upset is the anti-abortion people are upsetting me because I feel like they're being just hateful. So that is upsetting me. So I think I found,
Okay. So
you know,
I feel like I'm being hateful to myself.
yeah.
Yeah, is that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did prevent myself from getting abortions for my entire life by incarnating this way. No, just kidding.
That's a way of seeing it.
No,
Yeah.
it's just a joke. It's just a joke. I'm not saying it's like desirable to have that, but I'm just sprinkling in some humor. So anyway, but
I
yeah,
know. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like that's why there's a choice there. Like, I think no woman wants to have an abortion, obviously. But sometimes, like, there's just a choice to make, and I think that's a choice between you and God, and
yeah,
that's just it. You know, there's nothing else to even discuss about it. So
yeah, yeah. And you know, it is between you and God. And you know what I felt healed me just then with the self-hatred thing? It was more like let go of just letting go of guilt, you know. It gives me images
yeah,
of like the Adam and Eve type of story.
I felt that too. Like I felt like it was guilt,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
So yeah, are we ready to let go of this guilt? This
yes,
feeling that we're bad people.
yeah,
Yeah, because we're good people.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's just give ourselves some love and a big hug there because like we're perfect, we're from God.
Mm.
There's no reason why we would be bad. Feeling better.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah. Is this part ready to integrate, or is there something else?
I feel like that is it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So let's integrate that part into ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Thank you for receiving.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah, that was very nice. It feels lighter to me, to be honest. Like, I don't know about you.
Yeah. No, yeah, it does feel lighter. Yeah. There's kind of like a yeah, I think that this I think we might have to continue to just affirm that we're powerful and that we don't need to hold on to anger to like be effective or something at like changing things for the better, you know? Yeah. It's like that's like the I mean, you know, it's kind of the default in the world today, like most, I think probably the majority of people, but there's that maybe attachment, I guess, to like staying angry about like all of these issues that we would talk about today, like, you know, like being like, oh yeah, like it's an outrage and I'm really angry about it, you know. But yeah, I don't know, I choose not to and attach the anger, and I choose to affirm that we're powerful, that I am powerful, that we are. Yeah.
Isaiah, what are you feeling?
I'm feeling peaceful right now. And that feels like I think it was, I can't remember exactly what the meme said that Jeff shared, but it was like your, I don't remember what it said, but the gist was it's not the anger that protects you, but it can be just this bubble of energy of love, and that can be your boundary. And that's your safety. And that's kind of how I feel right now, is I just feel this energy of peace and power, and that's where my safety and my power is, and that's where I have choice over what I do with my body and how I love myself there. And that yeah, just right, like you said, like it's that faith and cultivating that peace that is actually the answer here to healing this. Yeah,
Yeah, we're just learning that peace is power.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so with that said, I think it's a perfect transition to the other topics that we have. And I would like to know more about the bill that is called the Don't Say Gay bill, because I don't know much about it. So yeah, I'm curious, like, what does this bill entail, and why is it such a hot topic right now? If you want to explain to me, like Deji or Isaiah or Sage.
To my understanding, I believe that I think okay, this is from what I've been told. I believe it's going back to the days where it was what's the phrase that the army used to use?
Oh, don't ask, don't tell.
There we go. Yeah, that's to my understanding what it was. And I'm being told that it has something to do more, there's something else to do with it, with the trans community as well. But I forgot the specific details. All I know is about the don't ask, don't tell thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was that what was that in the military that you couldn't be openly.
You can be openly gay to join the army.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to keep it a secret and do your thing. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Don't Say Gay bill aims to reproduce that into society? What is it about it that
In schools, in schools, like whatever schools that the governments can regulate. In some states, governments can still regulate private schools, but in all of them, they can regulate public schools. So it mainly applies to that. It's like saying that I feel like there's different ones that are like all over that different parts of the US, but they generally say like in schools, any mention of LGBTQ people or anything relating to LGBTQ people is prohibited. And that is, I feel like that's the kind of stuff that is like across all of them. Just like in schools, like you can't like talk about that. And it's kind of vague. It's completely, in Florida where it started, it's like preschool to third grade, you aren't allowed to talk about anything LGBT related with the kids. And it's taking of these like really little kids, but anyway, and then fourth grade and upward, it's kind of vague language. It says you can't discuss LGBTQ topics in any way that's developmentally inappropriate. But that's kind of like subjective, really. I mean, like, how do you really tell like what is developmentally appropriate to talk about? Maybe like you could say like once kids start hitting puberty, then you could include that in sex ed type of stuff. But yeah, like that's what it is. Like just it's kind of like prohibiting that. And some versions of this bill, I feel like there's a few that make it so that like if a kid discloses to their teacher or somehow makes it known that they are gay or that they're transgender or maybe like gender non-binary, then the teacher would be like technically obligated to report that to the parents of the child. And that's such an interesting thing that I would love to discuss with you guys, because some parents have a feeling that the school is taking away their right as a parent to like influence their kid, basically. And they're seeing it as like, well, the school's providing a safe haven for my kid, to delve into thinking of themselves as being gay or as being transgender, right? You know, because that could happen like at school. That's how it was for me, right? Part of my time, like if I had friends who I could disclose it to, I would tell them back in high school, because I wasn't out as trans, I would tell them that I was gay, and my parents didn't know. So I had this separate little bubble where my parents weren't there, where I could at least mention that I was gay, right? And so some parents have an issue with that because they say I should have full control over my child and whether or not I allow them to express being gay or being trans. And schools should not be a safe haven for kids to engage in such deviant behavior, you know? So that's what this is about. Okay.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so it's, but it brings up a question though, of like, you know, what is the parents' rights? What are the child's rights? That kind of thing. And especially in the US, it's alarming because like there have been reports of like kids who, once their parents know that they're gay, like the parents abuse the kids, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's troubling, but these are,
Yeah.
this is what's going on in consciousness right now. So there you go.
Isaiah, what are you feeling about that?
Yes, I feel just deeply sad, right? Like very
Yeah.
intense sadness right now. Because it just feels like I feel like part of me is being suppressed. Like you have to like freaking suppress who you are after like it's just so backwards. Like we the LGBTQ community and just I feel like humanity in general has worked so hard towards freedom and has worked so hard towards having equal rights for minorities and for you know, marginalized people. And then this thing comes out and it's just like it feels like yeah, I just feel this big energy of suppression and of being silenced and that you like can't express yourself. This, yeah, that type of energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you? What are you feeling about that?
Oh,
Oh, you're
You're
muted.
muted.
Yeah.
Can you hear me
It's
now?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking for me, this bill hasn't necessarily bothered me only because I live in New York. So it's mostly the red states like, you know, Florida and, you know, states on the countryside. I'm in the city. So when it came to Don't Say Gay bill, my state was actually against it. And the mayor of my city, my state, actually did a thing where he was recruiting LGBTQ fellows, citizens, whatever how you call it, from Florida for a billboard campaign. So I can't really say that it bothered me because like where I am, it's actually helping and loving on the community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I get what you're
yeah.
saying.
So I can't really, I can't say like it's bothering me that much because like because where I am right now is like helping to go against the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Like for me, like now that I know what this is, it feels quite heavy. It feels like a lot. And I'm actually surprised to see so many of these tendencies today because like in democracies and especially Western countries, we're known to take action towards freedom for the people. And I feel like this is yeah, exactly like abortion, like going backwards and feeling like if this is put in place, like what prevents people from going even further and suppressing even more of our liberties and rights, you know? And from the point of view, like the child having a safe haven to explore in school, it reminded me of this sociology course that I had when I was in college. And basically it was describing the different, you know, circles of closeness to the child, to the person, and the different circles of socialization. And so there was the primary circle, which was a family, around the secondary circle, which was like probably the school, the neighbors, people that you saw daily but were not living with you. And there was a third circle that was bigger, you know, and that was different for every people. But it's basically like, this is normal to have those circles, you know, for the development. And so people that say that it's actually anti-development to have those explorations and this freedom for the child at school, it's actually against the research that would say, oh, actually, exploring at school is healthy for somebody, and having this freedom as a child to have those circles where, you know, some people know a few things and the parents know other things, you know, is actually an healthy kind of development. I don't know if I'm clear about it.
What do you mean by explore exactly?
Exploring your identity, not your sexuality. It's like exploring different things that what you're taught at home, basically.
Oh, okay.
You know, for example, you have this way to eat at home, those traditions and kind of habits with your family, and you have these ways to eat and socialize with your friends that are different. That could be even that could be an example of like different socializations, because you're learning different things and you're like opening your minds to different ways, you know. It's sociology. It's kind of complicated, but like the whole of it is that it's healthy to see different things from different circles of your life, you know, different circles of people. And I feel like a bill like that would suppress a part of that freedom to explore, because like a parent would be over everything that the child would do, instead of like in a healthy, balanced way. And then there's the circle of friends in a healthy, balanced way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just think that like, so what you were saying about like how, and what you were saying too, Isaiah, about like how we've as society we've done so much to improve equality and the status and the rights of people, various people, and like it's this. I think the reason why it's so tenuous, like the rights are kind of in this state where it's kind of under under fire. These rights are under fire, is because like we our society is still like getting clear on what its values are and what it allows. And some people in the US believe that, you know, it's a, like, they have different beliefs about the country. Like, they believe that it's a traditionally Christian nation and that we should enforce certain moral and religious values. And some people believe that it is allowed to evolve beyond that, because I mean, it did start as like a Christian nation, like culturally, although we have protections against like the mixture of church and state. But that's, I mean, that's hard to enforce, like when everyone's Christian almost. But I just feel like, you know, we as an LGBTQ people, or like all peoples, like who might feel oppressed or feel oppression, we all need to heal this, because instead of our rights being based on like having to like fight for them, like we need our rights to be based on like our knowing that we're divine and that we're of God, or that we truly deserve these rights. And if there's self-hatred in us that would say, maybe I do deserve this, we need to heal it. Because that's the problem, is that, you know, there's like, because there's that disagreement within us, like as a collective of humanity, I feel like that's why this is happening, because there's people who are expressing that in consciousness by saying, let's try to like restrict some of that. And I agree with you, like Yoreen, like I think school should be a safe haven for kids to explore. I just think that some parents like are uncomfortable and they try different ways to see what they can permit and like it like not permit in schools. And it's always been like a touchy subject because it's a public school. So it's meant for the public, for everyone. Like it's meant for whoever lives there. And so there's going to be kids who like have gay parents, like maybe like two dads or two moms or however they might identify. And there's going to be kids who are gay and their parents support them, you know, too, at the school. So like, how do you know what I mean? So I feel like that is a pretty strong argument too, that it's a public school, it's for everyone, you know, but we have like healing to do there so that we can like actually feel like it's okay. And I think people need to know too that like, no matter if you like think it's good or bad to be gay or transgender, it's not something that you're influenced to get to become. Like you're like, you know, I was hanging out with all these, you know, trans people, and I decided I wanted to be like them, so I'm just gonna be trans, like, or I'm just, you know, I think there's like, yeah, I think gay would be cool, let's do that, you know. It's like, it's who you are, and I think there's a misperception that it's not who you are, it's just what you choose. So those are some like feelings and ideas I'm gonna throw out there. I think that that's what's like up for this being discussed, up for debate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I feel it's like, to be clear, we are so used to having our society and state and laws based on, you know, prohibitions, like what is forbidden, because of like our religious histories, that it's kind of difficult to shift the perspective around. But now we would have to have as a standard not what's prohibited, but what's possible, you know. It's possible that this kid would be at a school and he would be transgender and he would need this for his needs to be met, for her needs to be met. It's possible that they're gay, and it's possible that, you know, their parents need more protection and more supportive maternity leave, or they don't have a means to have another child. And because of all these possibilities, we would need to have all these laws that would support them. And just accepting that this is the reality of people, this is diverse. It's not about what's prohibited, it's about what's the diversity of like human beings that we have. And it's all beautiful, but as you said, it's divine that they all have divinity in themselves, and it needs to be respected.
Well, we need to respect ourselves and we need to accept ourselves, and I choose to. That feels good. Yeah.
True. So yeah, I feel it's time to go inside and see, like, feel all that oppression and disrespect that we've been feeling.
It's time to feel the oppression and
that part that feels oppressed and disrespected.
Yeah. Who wants to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
You want to?
Yeah, I'm feeling heavy. I need to move through this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sage, would you like to help him?
Sure. Sure. Okay.
Okay.
What is that?
I just feel like this really heavy feeling. It feels. I think it's I'm feeling like suppressed. And this feeling of right, like I'm fighting, but I'm kind of being caged in type of feeling. Yeah, so that's what that is.
So you're upset because you feel like they're like caging you in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and suppressing me. Yeah.
Suppressing you? Okay. Do you feel that somewhere in you you're like suppressing yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So do you see that part of yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is he saying to you? What would he ask for?
He just needs God, because that's where I feel free.
Planet name.
So I'm gonna just give that to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay, that feels better. Ooh, that's a heavy one.
Good. Yeah, you're doing a phenomenal job. Tremendous.
Oh my God. That's just who I want to help me, is Trump, to get through my depression.
No, he does help. He brings up the upsets. Anything else? What else do you feel?
You're so ridiculous. Okay, so I choose to just be present with myself here. Yeah, so I still see this part of me that kind of feels like pressed down. It's like that type of feeling. Yeah, so that's the next piece here.
Hold on. Oxygen. So they're pressing on you. Feel that they are pressing on you?
Yeah.
Pressing you down?
Yes.
Is there a part of you that's pressing yourself down?
Yes.
Okay. What does he need to feel loved right
now? To just kind of be taken away from that, and just to be given like lightness and freedom.
Yeah. Yes. You can't just give him that, and he deserves that.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels lighter.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. Anything else there that feels
Yeah, that feels better.
good?
It still feels kind of like there's like I'm not under the stone, but there's still a stone there. Like, do I have to deal with that stone or do I just let it go?
What is that? What is the stone?
Oh, it feels like I have to move it, but this isn't my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Do you choose to? Well, whose responsibility is it to move this?
it's God's.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. I feel so much better.
Yeah,
I feel like that's for all of these issues, just knowing that it's in the hands of the divine
yeah,
fundamentally, and it's not just up to us as just people, individual people.
exactly.
It feels so much better.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we heal and make the choice, but we're surrendering to the divine
exactly.
in this. We're surrendering to God and the higher order
Yeah.
of life. Yay. How else do you feel?
Yeah, no, that feels much better. I
Good.
think that's it.
Do you feel ready to integrate him back into your soul?
Yes.
Okay. You want to do
Yeah.
that? Excuse me. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, that feels much better. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being vulnerable. And we'll have to end the discussion on that, but it feels good to end on that healing. Thank you to everyone who has watched this live. We're very grateful. And if you have any thoughts about like different bills that we talked about, don't hesitate to comment and we'll respond to you. And if you're seeing this from YouTube and you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to see our other discussions and on interesting topics like this. So yeah, thank you again. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.